Welcome back. Today, I would like to talk about something that everyone is talking about, honestly, and that is our dwindling attention spans. And I want to talk about it from an angle that maybe not everyone is talking about it. Reclaiming your attention span for this, that, and the other so you can get your life back. I want to link the attention crisis to the sort of almost empathy crisis that we're finding ourselves in these days. I just talk about how our dwindling attention spans are directly linked to a world in which we're caring less and less about each other. I've spoken a little bit about this kind of thing before, about how we need to sort of open our eyes and open our minds to different perspectives and things like that, and how the lack of regard, or like the normalization of a lack of regard for other perspectives and other people, is sort of hindering us and hindering our worldviews. But having spoken about that before, I didn't really dig into how we got to this point and what to sort of do about it. And I don't want to just be the doom and gloom girl. I want to provide solutions. So that's what I've been thinking about. So I think the core of this issue of the sort of empathy crisis, as I'm calling it, is the fact that we're slowly sort of losing the ability to go beyond ourselves because we're so encouraged to just be consumed by ourselves in a way. And I think it's costing us our ability to see beyond ourselves and our relationships with each other. I think that the proliferation of echo chambers, the rise of extremism, and also even apoliticism are all sort of like symptoms of this sort of reducing sense of empathy that we all have. They're all sort of different ways to care about each other less. I want to talk about how reclaiming our attention can be a way to find our way back to each other, to get our communal connections and, like I keep saying, sense of perspective back. The fact of the matter is that the way that society is structured these days encourages individualism in a way that the value of community is lessening, and instead we sort of prioritize efficiency in our lives. Everything must be as optimized and convenient and fun and easy as possible. And this is so much easier to do when we exist sort of in silos rather than as big groups of people looking after each other. Because community is great, it's wonderful, but what it takes to sustain community isn't necessarily that. That is work. That's not easy. That's not ease. It's not convenience. That's not what we're being taught to value. It involves sort of going beyond the self in a way that is hard to do these days, in my opinion. It's a long haul commitment compared to the short fixes that we're used to. And I mean, that sounds familiar, right? Because what are these short fixes also doing? Dwindling our attention spans. So yeah, I think this affinity for quickness, for ease, for efficiency is directly linked to our reducing ability to keep attention on anything. And this inability is restricting the way that we're able to relate to each other, to form community, to sustain community, because we just do not have the patience for it. The effort that it takes to sustain community, much like the effort it takes to sustain attention, isn't conducive to the kind of world we currently live in. Now, the attention crisis itself is often also framed as an efficiency issue, and the solutions proposed in a bid to increase efficiency and productivity in a way. A lot of the message being peddled is reclaim your attention so you can do more things and be more productive and optimize your time as a human being. And I feel like this might be part of the issue. And that's sort of why I want to think about reframing this attention crisis in a way that doesn't center efficiency and productivity. Because I think, yeah, this efficiency productivity thing, that is playing into this whole issue of individualism that has led us to this point. And I think it's the individualism that we need to go beyond in order to solve both the attention and its linked empathy crisis. And this is where I bring in the philosopher of the day, Simone Weil, a 20th century philosopher. And she had a very refreshing, I think, perspective on the issue of attention that is so relevant even today. I think it can uniquely be applied to this sort of link and issue that I'm talking about between attention and empathy, and how to sort of regain both faculties back simultaneously. They essentially argued that the ability to pay attention is one of the most valuable cognitive skills that we can possess, as it allows us to go beyond ourselves. Many liken her whole idea of attention and the importance of it to almost meditation, sort of transcending the self in order to be present in the world. But they went even further to almost suggest that attention is akin to prayer. It's something sacred. It's a process that through going through, we learn something rather than a process to arrive at a destination. We don't pay attention to reach different outcomes, like let's say to be more productive or efficient. We pay attention to cultivate the skill of attention and become more present in the world we live in. and aware of what surrounds us and who surrounds us, and be able to relate to those things. I think in our dopamine-driven, attention-dwindling society, this seems like a pretty far-fetched process to undertake because we're constantly chasing the next hit, the next high. And this is very cringe simile, but I guess we're like hamsters on a wheel. Like, we're just running, chasing after the next sort of stimulus to give us the high, and then just running again and again and again. We pay attention to nothing other than how things make us feel, and whether that feeling is good and it's a quick hit. And the most important thing is how quickly it does this. Weil's philosophy directly challenges this because it asks us to directly pay attention, which requires us to slow down. It doesn't have an instant reward. And secondly, it asks us to pay attention in a way that doesn't guarantee any kind of outcome or forgoes the attachment to an outcome, something that in an outcome-driven society seems quite difficult. It goes against everything that we in this world right now value and live in. Quickness, results, etc. But I think this is precisely why we need this. This is why we sort of need to start employing this philosophy, or it is a way to strive towards something better. I want to say that by sort of following this whole idea of like attention is a skill, it's a process rather than a destination, that's how we start to regain our ability to focus, but also our ability to see beyond ourselves and relate to one another in a empathetic and kind way. They famously called attention the rarest and purest form of generosity. In the present day, I think for the reasons I've said, this absolutely remains the case. If anything, even more so, because it is such a scarce resource these days. Attention is a form of generosity because it is exactly that which allows us to extend our humanity to others. And that's a really, really great gift in a world that is insisting on removing it from some groups of people. It is through the skill of attention that we're able to become truly empathetic people. Many of us lack the skill of attention or have a massively reduced capacity for it because of the kind of world we live in. And we're completely self-absorbed because of our addiction to dopamine. We barely have the ability to acknowledge our own thoughts and processes beyond, feeling good, let alone those of others. We prioritize our selfish reward centers above anything. It means that even though we live in a world that is sort of more connected than ever, we are some of the least connected to our communities ever, or in a lot of generations at least. Weil's attention is about being able to concentrate without distraction, to attend to something without expectation, and from this to slowly begin to leave ego, this need to always satisfy ourselves at the door. And it is leaving the ego at the door that opens our eyes to everything beyond the door, including the selfhood and struggles of others. It broadens our perspective. It is through attention and regaining that and reclaiming that we go beyond the selves that the way that the world is right now has almost demanded us to constantly be consumed by. So, I guess to wrap up everything I've been saying here, I think that reclaiming our attention spans isn't like a matter of just like the personal or the even temporal, gaining back time, whatever, or the efficient or the superior, like you're not better than me because you can pay attention to things. I think it is a matter of survival. It's how we regain our faculties for intuitive care for those around us and the world around us, because that's what's sort of leading to the sort of scary place that we live in, climate degradation, everything going on with humans right now, what we're doing to each other. All of this is because we struggle to go beyond ourselves and our own selfish needs. I think this reclamation of attention, this reframing of attention is how we open ourselves up to perspectives beyond our own and see people and issues as multifaceted. It's how we allow empathy and community back into the center of our lives rather than just being an afterthought and prioritizing the self and the ego. To wrap this up, I would like to mention Henry Miller, who famously actually asked us to forget ourselves in order to develop an interest in life as we see it, life around us. This is what it means to attend to the world around us. Forgetting or decentralizing ourselves so that we're able to have a holistic view of others and relate to them in a way that is mutually beneficial, that develops our perspectives and gives us a more nuanced view on everything. That's my take for today. Let me know what you think in the comments. I have really enjoyed looking into this and reading Weil and trying to understand her ideas and link empathy and all of this. And it's a topic I would like to explore a little bit more of. Let's see. But for now, thank you for being here. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.